Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and in today's video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to win more gunfights. So basically, I'm just going to be giving some advanced tips and tricks that you guys can use inside of ranked scrims or whatever you're doing, just to win more, and yeah, just basically come out on top, whether it is, close range, long range, whatever. Mostly close range, since that's kind of where most competitive kind of gunfights are taken, but yeah. So basically, the very first tip is to use the meta. Now, basically what this means is to use guns that are really prominent and are basically shred inside of, the current season, the current patch notes, whatever. So basically, for example, I could be using like the HVK or, for example, the ASM-10 like I am now in this clip. You can also use things like the Man of War or Kimbo Fennec. I know it's a little bit toxic, but it is the meta. And sometimes if you want to win against really sweaty people, then using the meta is one of the really good ways to do that. However, you will see that some of the sweats and like pro players and stuff, they don't actually really need to follow the meta, just because their aim and their movement and their game sense is really good. And basically, for the rest of the tips today, yeah, basically I'm gonna be showing you guys some of those little tips and tricks that you can use without using the meta and still win gunfights. So the second tip is to pre-aim and to pre-fire. Now, pre-aiming is basically, for example, you're just sliding around a corner, and you kind of have to have really good game sense for this. So you just kind of have to know where people are going to be. You just kind of have to know where people position themselves around the map, and just kind of, yeah, exactly, just where they're going to be. So just a rough estimate should be enough. And all you have to do, if you're using hipfire, basically what you want to do is just, for example, slide around a corner. And as you could see here, I knew there was going to be someone there, or I suspected there was going to be someone there, as you can see. So basically, I pre-aim a lot, and I basically do a slide pre-aim. I prefer slide pre-aim. And as you can see, I'm doing a lot of pre-aiming because I know people are going to be running down here, or people are going to be potentially running down. But yeah, pre-aiming is very important. And pre-firing is basically when you know an opponent is inside of the, for example, a space, and you know they're going to like run out soon or something like that. Or if you have a gun such as, LMG or like an ICR with like 50 bullets in it or something, and you have a lot of bullets to spare, pre-firing is really useful because people's reaction times aren't exactly that fast inside of this game. Basically, if you can pre-fire, you'll basically just laser them. So you see a lot of people in the pro scene, especially in Garena and an EU using choppers, and they do a lot of pre-firing. So they predict where people are going to be coming out of, and they just shoot that spot continuously, just hoping someone's going to come out of there. Obviously, it does take a bit of game sense, but if you can master pre-firing, you guys are going to shred, and nobody's going to be able to beat you. But yeah, that does require a lot of game sense. So for my third tip, basically, is to add extra movement mechanics in fights, such as strafing. So basically, strafing is just firing, and basically what you want to do is just, shoot and move your joystick from side to side, so from left to right, basically on the opponent's screen. This is going to make you just a little bit harder to hit, just because you're going to be moving a little bit more. And yeah, it does stuff for people's aim. So strafing is a really good technique to use, and a lot of people in the pro scene do it. And it's especially good if you're using, less fingers than most players. So maybe if you're using thumbs, or yeah, strafing is really useful for that. But another technique that you guys can actually use is jumping. So basically, this is jump shotting, and when you jump shot, what you want to do is strafe. And every time you put your joystick to the left, you want to jump. And every time you pull it to the right, you want to jump again. So it's basically strafing, just a bit more advanced. And it's much more hard to aim with this technique. So if you can't control recoil very well, and if you can't, aim very well, then I wouldn't actually recommend using jump shotting. I'd say it's more just for experienced players. But yeah, you do have to have much better aim. And yeah, jump shotting is just, it's really useful if you can do it correctly. A lot of people with really good aim can use jump shotting, just because, it's a really effective technique. And yeah, another technique you guys can actually use is drop shotting. And this is what I use the most. It's pretty easy. All you have to do is just, when you're shooting, all you have to do is just hold down on the prone button, the crouch button. And if you have a prone button, you can use that as well, but I don't have a prone button. So basically, while you're shooting, you just hold down the crouch button and keep shooting. And basically, a lot of people complain about, it's zooming out and stuff. Basically, you have to, first shoot and then crouch, and you can't stop shooting. Otherwise, it can like zoom out. So make sure to do that. And once you've mastered that, you're basically on track for dropshotting. And I wouldn't recommend dropshotting in like the open and stuff. It's really not that good because it kind of stops your movement. You only want to use dropshotting when it's in a good position, when you're not going to be shot from all angles, and you're really confident in your positioning and all that type of stuff. So dropshotting is limited to certain areas and all that type of stuff. And finally, you guys can actually do an extra slide. So basically, if you guys, if you've missed a bunch of shots or whatever, and your opponent's missing a little bit, you can actually do something to throw them off guard, which most people won't expect. And basically, you can just chuck in another slide. And if you chuck in another slide in the middle of a gunfight, I mean, if your opponent has really good aim, it's not really gonna work. But if your opponent has pretty doo-doo aim, or is just not that good, and you can chuck up like a really good slide in there, then you can catch a lot of people off guard, and you can win a lot of fights. I know a lot of people who do this, and even the pro scene, even with people who have actually a kind of decent aim, you can still do this. So yeah, that's some of the extra movement mechanics that you can add to your gunfights. Another tip I have is to re-peek. Now, basically what this means is that someone's there, so you kind of jiggle peek them. You just have a look at where they are, and as you can see, that's a pre-fire there. But basically, re-peeking is you know where someone is, and you go behind like cover, like a wall or something, and then you re-peek that spot. Basically, what you guys will have is peeker's advantage, which is very important inside of this game. Basically, peeker's advantage is an advantage over someone who's like, for example, hard scoping, just because they will have a slower reaction time when they shoot you. Because people, hard scoping, and then once you come in and you slide in and you like pre-aim, pre-shoot, whatever, all that type of stuff, you'll have peeker's advantages, because the person who's hard scoping you is going to have a delay in their reaction, and that's just natural, and that just kind of happens. But yeah, that's basically re-peeking, so going around a corner and then just coming straight back. Obviously with desync it doesn't really work that well, so you have to be pretty skilled at it. And finally, my last tip is to not take unnecessary fights. So basically, you always want to have a better chance at winning. So basically, in the open, you don't want to be drop shotting, as I said before, and you want to, position yourself in the correct spots. You don't want to be, you just want to get on like head glitches and all that type of stuff, because that really does help you win. Even though it's a little bit campy, sometimes just getting on head glitch strafing is really just going to help you win. And don't try to, go for unnecessary fights or take on like 5 people at once. You're really not going to win. It's not really that realistic. So yeah, that's going to be all my tips. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.